to our channel. I know it has been a crazy number of weeks since my last video. I cannot even get into all of the craziness that's been going on in this house. In the meantime, since the last time I spoke to you guys, I think it was almost immediately after my last video where I was talking about, you know, how I was very keen to get into a new sort of weight loss and healthy living routine, that everyone in our family gradually, one by one, came down with the flu. And so if you're a mama or if you've had a husband who's got some man flu before, you'll know that you spend a lot of time sort of looking after them and cleaning sheets and doing all of that kind of stuff that takes up a lot of time. And then naturally, once you're spending all of that time with sick people, you tend to get sick yourself. So just getting anything done was a little bit challenging in that time. I felt really frustrated because I was so motivated, so keen to get working out and everything. And it just wasn't something that was able to be done. It was just one of those things that just was not achievable in that time in our lives. But I am just getting back on track of things now. Everybody seems to be better now. There we go. Knock on wood that nobody gets sick again. We're finally in spring. So hopefully that is a little signifier that everybody is just going to start getting better and getting back into the swing of things. But one thing that I was able to stay on top of during this time was our healthy eating, which was the main thing that I wanted to work on. If you guys remember my last video, I was finding that I'd gotten into a pattern of I was just finding that I'd gotten so busy that I wasn't taking the time to look after myself properly. I was eating on the go quite a fair bit, and as a result of that, I was just grabbing the easiest option out of the fridge or pantry, or even eating takeaway meals, which is a very bad habit to get into. And as a result of that, I was just left feeling really unenergetic. I don't even know if that's a word. I just didn't feel like on top of my game, if that makes any sense. And I'm sure you guys have probably been in that position before. So I wanted to develop a strategy that would make it easier for me to be able to grab meals on the go when I was having those very rushed days, but eating healthy and eating quality fresh foods, which is, if you remember, I started trying out the meal kit boxes. The one that I chose was HelloFresh, and I've used quite a few of those boxes. In the meantime, I've used them 3 different ways. The first way was the more obvious way. We would receive the box and I would pull out my little recipe card, choose a recipe and make that meal. Then on the next night do the same thing until we'd used all the recipes. The second way was one week I actually had the box arrive on a Saturday morning. I thought, great, James can sort of watch over the kids for an hour or 2 or 3, however long it takes, and I might make all of these meals up. Luckily for me, the next day I got quite sick. So I'd made all of these meals and we were able to eat them for our dinners over the next couple of nights, which was really quite good. It worked out really well in that way. And I was surprised that it didn't take me that long to prepare. It only took me about an hour to prepare all of the meals, and it meant that everything was done for the next couple of days, which was great. And the third way, which I want to talk more about in today's video, which if you haven't guessed by the title already, is going to be a meal planning video, was once I got the box, I did the same thing. I spent an hour preparing all of the meals, but I put them into single serve containers and I actually just ate them myself over the week. There were a few that James had because the recipes do have certain foods that I don't like I'm not a big meat eater myself, so James had a few of those. But in the future, I think I'm going to buy one of the vegetarian boxes. So the ones that we've been getting are the family boxes. They also have vegetarian boxes as well, which would probably be more suited to me. And I found this was just such an awesome way to control my portions. I'd always thought that meal planning would be something that I just wouldn't have time for, but I found out very quickly it was something that I had time for and that it just worked out really well, and I have been feeling much more lively as a result, despite the fact that I'd been sick for a few weeks there. So I'm sorry if that introduction dragged on for a little bit. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of background information before I jumped into the routine, but now that I've explained everything, let's jump straight into it. Okay, so let's get started with a little bit of an unboxing to show you guys the kinds of things that you get in these boxes. As you can see, I've already opened this one just to check if there was meat in it or not, which there is. There aren't always meat in them. All of the family boxes we've had so far have had meat in them. However, if meat is not your thing, they do have vegetarian boxes available as well, which is probably more my thing as well. As soon as you open the box, you can see that there's a little bit of information about the packaging. It's made out of 100% corn, which makes it biodegradable, which is always good for the environment. And that's all of your cool packaging that's in there, and I'll show you that in a minute. Then we have the cool packs, which once again, they're recyclable plastic. You just have to empty the gel out of the inside. And then on the other side, we've just got a little bit of background about the company. Inside we have the recipe card, which I'll show you guys in a minute. And then we have all of these individual packages, which are all sealed up. You can see that I haven't opened those yet. So I'm going to go through now and open each one. Okay, so the first thing is this little sachet. I think it's a lemon herb spice blend. So as you can see, that's all portioned, pre-portioned for me, so I don't have to go through and do that. Next we have a sweet paprika, once again, completely portioned in this little packaging. Not quite sure why it's different packaging to the one before, but yeah. Then we have 1, 2, 3 potatoes. We've got some green beans, which come all fresh in the packaging. And we have, what are they called? A capsicum. I always forget what it's called. Okay, so that's all for our first package. And all of that is just going to create one recipe. So that's why it's in that one bag. Next we move on to the next bag, which will have our next recipe in it. And bear in mind, I haven't actually looked at these recipes yet, so I don't know exactly what we're making. Okay, so we have, I think this is like a packet of spinach leaves. So they're all fresh. I think that's about 140 grams there. And then we've got 1, 2 golden pears, which look really nice and fresh. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sweet potatoes. So I'm interested to see what we're going to be making with sweet potatoes and pears, but once again, we'll check our recipe card in just a minute. Okay, moving on to the third package. We've got our blue one. Opening these bags is like opening presents on Christmas. I know that sounds so sad, but I just find it very, very exciting. So once again, we have another herb bag, and this has, I don't know what herb this is. I can't tell. It's like, it doesn't smell the best. I have no idea what herb that is. Oh, coriander. It's coriander. Okay, no wonder I didn't love the smell of it. I'm not a huge fan of coriander, but I'm going to try it. Okay, I know what this is going to be. We've got burrito wraps or taco shells, whatever you want to call them, in here. So obviously we're creating something delicious. And what else? We've got a lemon and a cabbage, red cabbage. And as you can see, that's quite a specific portion. So once again, it just goes back to everything being exactly portioned for what you need. We've got 2 tomatoes. Maybe that's to create some sort of salsa or something, I guess we'll see. It's really nice and firm too. We've got like a Mexican spice mix and a chili. Usually I'm not a chili person because I can't stand the heat, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to walk on the wild side today and I'm going to give this chili a go. So wish me luck, you guys. Okay, moving on to our last brown paper package. This one, what have we got in here? Okay, so we've got like a herb bag. I think it looks like it's got some sort of, maybe a coriander and spring onions or something in there. So once again, that's sort of everything we need, and they've just sort of thrown them all in together, perhaps to just reduce packaging or because we're just going to be cutting them all at the same time. And then we've got some bok choy. And next we have a green capsicum this time, and a carrot, and some garlic, 2 very specific portions of garlic. Can't remember what they're called, cloves. And then we've got some roasted cashews in a packet, so that's interesting. I'm interested to see what we're making with this. And, oh, okay, so we've got some rice noodles. So I feel like this is going to be sort of like an Asian rice noodle dish, obviously, because we've got the rice noodles in it. I just want to make a point about the vegetables as well. I have had bags before where all of the vegetables are pre-cut for me. So that is, you know, makes it easier again. However, today maybe we're not cutting them up so much. I don't know. Next is this corn, what do you call it? Corn packaging. I don't know how it's made out of corn, but it feels really nice. And you just know when it is biodegradable. It has that feeling about it. But anyway, on the inside of the bag, we have these cold packs, which I think I talked about before. They're made out of the recycled plastic. So you don't have to worry about, you know, if you're buying lots of these boxes, it being harmful to the environment. And I think you just have to empty out the gel that's inside, which that's what I've been doing. I don't know if you actually have to do that or not. And it's really good. These little ice packs are awesome at keeping these bags insulated. I usually have my boxes arrive on a Saturday and I know to go out to the front of the house and get them. But if you miss it for a few hours, I truly believe that these cold packs would keep all your meat fresh for however, not days and days on end, but quite a while at least. Okay, so next we've got some chicken breast in there. So that is, I'm not quite sure what that's going to be to make. And we've also got some chicken thigh as well. So we're going to be having 2 chicken dishes as part of this meal kit. Just gives you a little bit of variety, I guess. And we've got some pork loin. Not a huge fan of pork myself, but if it's a recipe where I can just take it out, then usually I just give the meat portions to James or somebody else in the household. There's certainly not a lack of people who will eat meat in this house. And what else? Okay, we've got, beef rump. So James is really, in fact, James, my dad, anyone in this house who does eat it has really enjoyed the beef rumps from HelloFresh so far. Once again, it's something that I don't really eat myself, so I'd probably go for a vegetarian box in the future. But yeah, the boys in particular have quite liked the quality of this meat that's come in the packages. And what else do we have in here? We've got a keket manis. I think that's how you pronounce it. So I'm assuming that's going to go with our noodle dish because that's usually ties in with those kinds of things. And we've got 3 little containers. Okay, so we've got like an aioli garlic mayonnaise in there. That should be quite yummy. And then we've got a mango mayonnaise. That's a bit different, but we'll give it a go. And another aioli garlic mayonnaise. So they all sound quite yummy. And yeah, I'm interested to see what kind of recipe all these things are going to make. I'm going to put them all back into this box because we're going to go ahead right now and go and make it all. So I won't need to chuck it back in the fridge. Before I do get started though, I'll show you the recipe really quickly. So the first one is pork and caramelized pear. That's quite interesting. Oh, and it's got like a sweet potato mash with it. So that's what our sweet potatoes are for. And it looks like it's sitting on a bed of spinach there as well. So that could be quite yummy. We'll probably eat most things on that plate actually. Probably just except the pork, which I probably just leave for James so he can have double portions. Okay, and then you can see on the back that it's just got like a quite simple recipe listed there, and then it's just got like a tear away on the inside of the spine, so you can tear it off, and it's a perfect A4 size as well, so you can go and put it in a folder if you want to reuse that recipe again, which works out quite well. And then on this second one, what is this? A chicken and cabbage slaw tacos. Okay, yum. And I think that's got the mango mayonnaise on it as well. So that looks quite yummy. I think it might be a little bit zesty. On the third recipe, we've got, what do we have over here? Thai beef and noodle stir fry. So I was right on that. You didn't have to be a genius to figure that out though, Ash. And so that's going to be a fun one. I know pretty much everybody in our house will eat that. I might just portion more of the meat in the other people's dishes and then just keep the vegetable portions for myself. And then what have we got on the last page?
Okay, so this is a lemon and paprika chicken strips. It's got a few vegetables in there as well. So that looks like it might be quite yummy. And even the kids, I think, would be quite interested in having this one. It looks like it's got its dipping sauce, which is something that's always appealing for my children. Okay, so let's take all of the recipes, pop them in the box, and head out into the kitchen. Okay, so I'm going to speed through this, you guys, because otherwise I would just be sitting here for like an hour or an hour and a half filming me cutting up food, which I'm sure you guys don't want to sit there and watch. So as you can see, I am going through and cutting up a few of the things this time around. There have been meal kits where I've had things pre-cut up for me before, and once again, like, obviously that's going to make things a whole lot easier. A lot of time can be taken up in the preparation of certain foods, and this one wasn't too bad. Like, even though I did have to get, you know, chop things, and as you can see I'm crushing garlic and stuff like that, it didn't really take that long, so I was quite happy with that. Despite that though, the time for money value has been exceptional when you consider the amount of time that it can take to do all of your grocery shopping and decide on recipes and all that kind of stuff. It was very helpful, particularly when I wasn't well or the kids weren't well, to have all of that stuff delivered for me and still know that I was still eating and feeding the family fresh foods. But if you are a little more skeptical about the price points, maybe just give it a try. I know that with some of them, I think HelloFresh also does it where sometimes you can get your first kit free or at a discounted price. I have reached out to them because I was really impressed with the brand to get a discount code for you guys. So I will have that down in the comment box below, the description box below, sorry, so you guys can check that out and use it if you're keen to give it a go. If you do though, let me know how you go with it, because I am really interested to see, you know, how many of you guys would be interested in those kinds of things, and you know what works for your families. So yeah, I liked it, I can say that much. Okay, so as you can see, it is now less than an hour and a half later and everything has been cooked. It just took me an extra couple of minutes to portion it out into all of these containers, but everything, I was really happy with how it all turned out. Naturally, I was giving things a little bit of a taste test as I went along, and it was all quite tasty. I think that everyone else in the house is going to love these things as well. And like I said at the beginning of the video, even though I bought it with the intention of using it for myself, there's simply way too much food here. What you see, you know, with all of the food sitting together like that, that's probably not even 2/3 of what I completely cooked up together. I just didn't have enough room in my containers to put it all in. So it's definitely more than enough for myself. I personally could not eat all that in a week.
So as you can see, that whole process didn't take me very long or much effort. Considering everything was already planned out, delivered and portioned for me, I really just had to sort of put it all together and cook it all up and I was done. If you were to go about it the other way, where you go to the grocery store and plan everything out yourself, buy everything yourself, cut it up all of yourself, it would take a few extra hours, I think, maybe depending on how long you take to shop, maybe an extra 2 hours, which is definitely still a great way to go about it. And in the grand scheme of things, if you're spending 3 hours, it's not a huge amount of time in the week to spend. However, if you are finding that you're just too busy and that you don't feel like you could get into the routine of doing that, I found that the HelloFresh boxes were really, really great for that, because you just seem to cut out so much time by having all of that initial stuff prepared for you. Originally, when I did hear about the concept of meal planning a couple of years ago, I'd always thought, like, who has the time to be able to do that? Like, I understand that it's very easy to go and grab your meal out of the fridge throughout the week, but it does mean that you've got to spend a good portion at the beginning of the week or on the weekend preparing all of these meals. But as you've noticed, it was quite easy, and it is something that I do feel like I could keep up with in the future and that I would definitely highly recommend to you guys. Anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching today's video. It feels really, really good to be back planning videos and creating content again, and naturally I thought this would be a really good way to get back into it, talking about my progress with this kind of thing and doing like a sort of routine type video. It's definitely the kind of video that I really love doing, that's sort of more organizational and routine focused. A couple of the upcoming videos that I've been planning are sort of how to organize all of your life into one room, because that's sort of what we've been doing since we've been living in my parents' house while we build our own home. Another one that I wanted to do was redoing my mum's fridge and pantry. So if they're the kinds of videos that you guys like to see, then make sure to tune in. And if you have any suggestions for those kinds of videos or other videos that you want to see, please feel free to put them in the comments below, because I'm always keen to see what you guys are interested in seeing as well. And of course, if you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to this channel and you want to see more of these kinds of videos. If you're over here from our daily vlogging channel and you've been wondering where we are for all of these months, we are coming back this week. I promise you will see more of us from now on. It's just been a huge adjustment period, to be honest, in this house, and getting into a good daily vlogging routine has been challenging, but I promise we're going to be back next week, so make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that. And other than that, I'll see you guys all next time.